Alright, so this last part is the stuff we just learned. And I'm going to explain it in context. So I'm going to explain what I'm looking for, and then I'm going to explain this in the context of the plant video that we saw on Mythbusters to just explain it a little bit better. So it says, for the following, determine the explanatory variable, all right, the response variable, the control group, and any lurking/confounding variables. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about that plant, talking to the plants. So first, we need to figure out our explanatory variable and our response variable. Okay, so explanatory variable means what are we doing to the plants? What are we doing to the plants to try to experiment something with? For this one is playing different types of sound. Now, that is the explanatory variable. The response variable is how is the plant supposed to respond? Why are we doing this? And how are we measuring this type of response? And that answer is actually pretty easy. It's, well, what were we trying to do? We're trying to see if the sound made the plants grow bigger. So we're seeing if the response would be the plants growing larger. Okay? And that's the response variable, is to see if they're growing larger in one area than another. Now the next one is called the control group. This is the group where nothing, the explanatory variable is not being administered to. Meaning, what are we trying to figure out? And whatever we're trying to figure out, let's make a group that nothing happens to beyond like normal life. So in this case, all that happened with the control group is it's the group without sound. That was the one group that had no sound, and because it didn't have any sound, we can compare everything to that group to see, well, did these plants grow larger than the control group? And if they did, then our experiment worked and our hypothesis worked, okay? Now, the lurking variables / confounding variables, they tried their best to make sure that this didn't happen. Like, there were no lurking or confounding variables. For example, if they didn't water them all the same, if they didn't put them all in the same light, like these are things that can affect plant growth. So I'm just going to show you some that could have worked. So sunlight, water, soil. Like if you change any of these things, these are a lurking or confounding variable, meaning that these things could have actually been the thing that was affecting the plants, not the music. So if these aren't controlled, meaning these confounding or lurking variables aren't controlled, they could actually hurt the experiment. Technically, these are lurking variables. Confounding variable would actually be something like this. So if you wanted a confounding variable, so this is lurking, this could explain the plant growth. Confounding means that you tested two things at once. So for example, if we tested like a richer soil, let's say that we had a richer soil and the music, we don't know which one made the plant grow. Was it the richer soil or was it the music? Or what if we put 3 times sunlight? Like if we add in a variable beyond the one that we're testing, so essentially we add in a second explanatory variable, that's what confounding means, is that you are screwing up the experiment because you're not able to figure out which one of those two things are actually changing the size of the plant, okay? So that's what I want you to do here, is I want you to figure out any lurking variables that could happen, all right? And then the confounding, like, is there anything else that could be, like, that we could be testing at the same time that could actually screw up the whole thing, okay? So those are all 3 chapters. Please study.